Hey, I finally fixed my garden. You can see, guys, up here we have our wild life force tier 1 fields. Then down here we got the primal fields. Right over here we got our vivid fields for tier 1 seeds. And everything's connected to our storage tank batteries over here. Via the lines here, it is connected to my higher seed tier breeding chamber up here. Each one of the fields is overlapped by dispersers of the other kind. If you're interested in this setup and how to recreate, I made a nice little video talking about this. Hi guys, what's up? Welcome to another video, and rip that guy. I already wanted to make this video yesterday explaining how to set up the grove because it's really not that complicated and you only have to set it up once for your league and you're done, and then you can make some minor adjustments, but you really don't need to. But I fell into a big hole yesterday because my landlord cancelled our contract and we'll have to move out here in 3 months. Now, doing this content creation thing is all I wanted to do, and is all that I put all my mental effort and fortitude into this for the last 2 years plus. And it looks like I might have to give this up and look for an alternative job in order to provide an income which I can prove and with which I can get a proper new housing situation. But I really want to make this happen, so if you've ever considered to support me in this quest, if you want to help other people find my videos and benefit from my knowledge and just help the channel being bigger, it doesn't cost you anything to like and subscribe the videos, help to get the word out, and of course, if you want to go the extra mile, please consider supporting me on Patreon, watching my stream on twitch.tv/CatmasterOP. It would be a massive help. It really does help a lot. It might not seem to you like it matters a lot if you got 1 viewer more or 1 viewer less, but trust me, it matters, and I thank you all massively. So let's get into the video. So if you saw my video where I explained the garden, I still had a pretty messy garden, and I told you guys to not make the same mistakes that I did and to properly set up your garden with the knowledge that I provided. But the very same day, people already posted some awesome schematics on the Path of Exile subreddit, which inspired me to completely reset my garden. So how did I go about this? First of all, I grew out all the seeds that I had already planted and I harvested them. And once I collected the life force and spent it properly, I tried to spend it most, obviously, first of all, you want to spend it on the good crafts. If you have good crafts available, make sure you utilize them on the basis that you prepared for it. But then anything that's extra, you want to spend on pylons and dispersers and storage tanks. You will need 27 storage tanks for this setup. You need 16 dispersers and quite some pylons in order to connect everything. These luckily only cost 10 life force to craft, so it shouldn't be a problem for you. And then 3 collectors of every kind. I even have more because I crafted more, but yeah, I'm just storing them here because I can't put them into the stash because they have life force in there. In order to remove placed objects in your grove, you press Ctrl-click, and if you can't remove something, that means that it has been activated in this instance. What you do in that case is you go back to the hideout, to the waypoint, and you press the button for the Sacred Grove with Ctrl-click in order to create a new instance. And like that, you'll be able to pick up the things that you activated previously as well. After you completely cleared your garden and you removed everything, I would recommend you start by setting up the fields. Start by setting up the vivid, primal, and wild fields in these corners. It doesn't really matter which color you do, but it's easier to follow my instructions if you do the same colors as I did. So I recommend you do the wild up here in the top left, you do the primal in the bottom right, and you do the vivid over there. But again, it doesn't really matter. What really matters is that you do the setup correctly on top where you have your higher tier seed breeding station. So for these storage tanks, I just put 3 by 3, and then each of the 3 lines I connected to one pylon. Each pylon can only have 4 connections, so you can only set up the storage battery like this, because you can only connect 3 to one, and then that one needs to be connected to the next one. And this one, again, is only connected to these 3 pylons, and then leads to the next one. So you have to think a little bit with that restriction in mind that pylons can only have 4 connections each. But you can just put another one in between if you need more connections and just have them collect the connections, bundle them together. So up here, I have one wild field here. Then we got a primal field here, and we got the vivid field over there. Now higher tier seeds have requirements, right? Let's get the basics straight again. You get tier 1 seeds dropping from seed caches in maps or areas in general. Every seed cache that you open progresses your growth by 1 growth cycle, and as soon as the tier 1 seeds can be harvested, you click the collector that is in range, kill the monsters to collect the life force, which you can then either use for crafts or condense. This is a very important distinction. Condensed life force and raw, fresh life force are completely different things. You can convert the fresh life force after harvesting into condensed life force, but it is the fresh life force that you use for crafts and the condensed life force that you use for fertilizing higher seeds. Meaning that once you condensed it, you cannot use it for crafting anymore, and it will only be available through your dispersers for your higher tier seeds. So for example, my tier 2, tier 3 wild seeds here, right? Let's go up here to show you. Higher tier seeds require adjacent seeds of the same type with a minimum tier to grow, right? So tier 2 seeds for me here usually need nearby tier 1 seeds to grow, and the tier 3 seeds nearby tier 2 seeds to grow of the same type, which is wild in this case. Now the tier 2 seeds consume one specific type of life force, condensed life force, but this type is always a different one than the one of the seed. It always needs a condensed life force of a different kind. So either vivid or primal in this case. Now the tier 2s I have here all need vivid, but the tier 3s need both. Tier 3s always need both. Now if you look at the setup here, you can see that we have quite some overlap between the dispersers. So this here, this square is a wild field, right? And we got our vivid disperser here in the corner, both corners as a matter of fact, because in the corner you can only have 3 adjacent plants, right? Diagonal counts as adjacent, but these seeds have a requirement of minimum 4 adjacent seeds. So you can't grow them in the corner here because they would only have 3 neighbors. That's why we can put the dispersers into these corners, because the corners are kind of useless anyway, unless you have fields adjacent, right? Obviously, if we had another collector right here that would be right next to this, then we could have more seeds here adjacent to that one. But since we're working with single fields, it's completely fine to put them into the corners. Now, for example, well, needless to say, I need more seeds, but I'm just trying to show you that here the requirements are fulfilled. As soon as we press disperse life force, you see that these requirements are all checked in here because everything overlaps quite nicely. But obviously you want some more tier 1 or lower tier seeds in general to fill this up. Just saying. But the idea how this is set up is that between the fields you have the dispersers. Between the fields there is like one space, one square space, and you got the dispersers of the other kind. So meaning right next to this primal field, I got wild dispersers in the corner here, I got vivid dispersers in the corner here, then we got a wild disperser in the middle between the 2 fields, and a vivid disperser here between the two fields. And this one in the middle is always the opposite, or like the third kind that is not the kind that the collectors are of. Oh god, this is complicated. I'll attach the schematic and I'll put the links in the description down below to the Reddit posts. I roughly followed the post that you can see on the screen right now, and that helps a lot understanding the system, but there's different variations that you can put to it, and there's different ways that you can implement what the underlying principles are. It's just that this one seemed the most reasonable and easy for me to replicate. Yeah, make sure that you get a feeling for how far you can place the pylons. This is, I think, the maximum distance. 1 unit more and you wouldn't be able to connect anymore, right? If I put this here, then it can't be connected to this one, right? So these only go for, like, I think 5. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 4 steps is the maximum here. And that's basically it. There's really not much that I can say other than happy farming. So, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. What are your secret gardening tips and tricks? Is there anything that you would like to tell other people that in order to help them prevent your mistakes? And yeah, that would be great. Help as many people find this video as possible. I appreciate all the support, and I wish you guys happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next video.